Welcome back to another episode
No, it's okay because I was staring right into that camera.
Hey everyone, big thanks for supporting the podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you want to hear more from us, hit the subscribe button or press the bell icon for future updates.
Welcome back to another episode of the Superfly Sessions podcast. We are joined with Holly, our paid ads manager.
Hello.
Rachel, our creative lead. She don't want to say anything. And Lily, our content executive.
Hello.
And me, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Hello.
Hi, Elle.
So this episode, we were actually talking about 2025 predictions, obviously within marketing, social media, things like that. Yep. Lily knows what we're doing. So yeah, who wants to go first, or shall I bring up the topic of choice?
Yeah, have a look at what we've got.
Right. So, okay, let's go straight into trending colours, design, branding. Obviously, Rich, this is your expertise.
Yes.
And you're doing a lot of posts about it recently because
am.
you know what's
On
going on
LinkedIn.
in the trending world,
They're popping off.
design world.
So,
And I've been loving your LinkedIn post.
thanks so much. LinkedIn shout out.
Follow me on LinkedIn, Rachel Smith.
Yeah, so I think this year we're looking at the big movement, and one of the colours that is really popular at the moment is cherry red, deep cherry red to be specific. We're seeing a lot of campaigns throughout fashion, beauty, interiors, really everything. There's a lot of brands sort of, picking this colour out, and it's everywhere at the moment essentially, and I feel like that's going to continue into throughout this year.
Do you think colours are often overlooked in certain design and things like that? Because obviously people have their own branding, so how are they implementing colour into
I think
it?
essentially with product placement and running campaigns that you don't necessarily need to use your specific brand colours for specific campaigns, if that makes sense. So for instance, we're seeing a lot of it in beauty, especially recently, of new products launching that are cherry flavoured, for instance, and then they're sort of utilising the fact that it's cherry flavoured by running it through their campaigns. So like Fenty have done it, Elemis, Glossier, they're going hard on it essentially, running these campaigns and running it through socials. You're just seeing it everywhere at the moment, so it's really popular. So yeah, I think that's gonna really pick up, and I think as well, it was highlighted by Pinterest. Pinterest predicts. They've also sort of mentioned that in
I think the cherry trend has resurfaced because I remember a couple of years ago it was a bit of a micro trend.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's kind
micro
of
trend.
stayed as, even though it is a micro trend, it's kind of just.
I think it's completely amped up.
Yeah, and it's kind of prolonged. It's it's now the black cherry, the deep cherry. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
The colour?
Black cherry, yeah.
And I feel like that's the new, before it was kind of
maybe more bright,
summery. A really reddish and
I think it's matured. Some people have sort of said it's developed into this. It's really chic and quite timeless in a way, and I think it's easy to carry on throughout multiple genres of throughout fashion, beauty, etc.
Do you think that B2C businesses should be thinking about implementing colours? Is it a seasonal thing? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the past years of how Brat Green, massive, that was huge, that was everywhere. Even
everyone
throughout
was doing it.
Politics was using that colour, and I think colour is so powerful for people's for people to identify a brand. Going back as well, Barbie hot pink, that was everywhere. Everyone was implementing it throughout their socials, campaigns, etc., jumping on these trends. And some would say it's copying, but then you're seeing a lot of these popular colours being utilised in such different ways, where it is jumping on these popular trends, but they do go viral.
And it's instantly recognised.
Absolutely. And they gain so much popularity throughout it. And
Colours like its own influencer.
It is, yeah. No, it is, and I think this cherry trend is massively like sort of involved in that.
Yeah.
It's not specifically targeted to one person, like Brat Green was Charlie XCX. It's not specifically that, but it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool.
that is what we're predicting.
And your vibe in your cherry skirt as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got the
I'm part of it. Yeah.
Anyone else got anything?
I've actually got a cherry top on. I'm not gonna like.
Do you know what my nails were meant to be more
Cherry.
deeper red, but
Yeah.
they didn't turn out like that. But whatever.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I wonder.
cool.
I wonder how that's gonna like kind of play out this year, because obviously it's popular now.
Yeah.
Really popular right
Yeah.
now. I think the cherry aesthetic has been massive for like years, but I wonder how that's gonna like develop this year, or if
It
that's
got
gonna
quite big sort of autumn last year, didn't it? Everybody had the
Yeah.
cherry
The
nails
burgundy.
and the burgundy.
Absolutely.
Is it more of a seasonal thing where
Yeah.
come spring and summer we're going to go into the pastels and the
Yeah, like
the
should be
bright
people be
colours
thinking
and-
about their colours now
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
different seasons like summer?
I think there's a surge. Do you know what I think it is? As much as people love trends, I think at the moment people are identifying how quickly trends sort of come and go, and I think people are looking at sort of embracing a trend for
Yeah.
longer periods of time,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Because I think people, for instance, in fashion, consumers are becoming more conscious of fast fashion
Yeah.
and how impactful that is to, the world, in industry, the environment,
Yeah.
I agree,
etc.
100%.
So I feel like trends will start to become longer, like how they
Macro,
used to
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The micro trend might sort of start to decrease,
I've
and the
noticed-
longer, they stay around for longer.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say. Like, I've noticed the micro trends are not necessarily lasting maybe like a few months, but rather maybe a couple of years.
I think people
Yeah.
are committing to it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think with, sort of brands picking up on these trends still, I do think it'll like sort of continue throughout the year. Maybe not specifically using cherries, for
Yeah.
instance, like some of them are at the moment. We're seeing a lot of that in photography, but sort of keeping on that trend of how that colour makes you feel and how
Yeah.
that colour comes across.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
instance, that specific colour is quite chic.
Yeah.
It's pretty timeless. It can be used in all of these different genres. It works.
And I do think brands are being more mindful of like timelessness now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Going back
doubt.
onto the sustainability thing, I think,
Yeah.
even in fashion and things, people are building, their staple wardrobes. And
Yeah.
I think that's, it's not
It's
trendy.
important.
It's important.
It's important,
And,
and it's
people
something
are
that
kind of picking up on it. But I do think if we go from like a branding perspective, we're seeing a lot more kind of, classic, classic appeal, a classic take
Absolutely.
on, and also like the retro kind of aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
And the vintage.
Yeah.
That goes on to our next.
Yeah, it does.
It
Yeah.
was, I was letting it go. It was a smooth transition. I was going to transition, but Lily did it for
I was
me.
like,
Yeah.
how can I?
No, it
Yeah.
does. That
But tie it
transitions
in.
onto our next sort
Yeah,
of
so,
hot pick.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
nostalgia then, it's coming
Yeah.
into not only fashion, but just everything in marketing. I think a lot of people and a lot of companies are taking it back a bit. It's like, what did we used to do? What
Yeah.
did we used to enjoy?
How
and
did it
I'll
work
go on to
prior?
I'll go on to my thing in a moment, but I'll let you guys, with the whole creative industry and stuff, how are we bringing back nostalgia? But, as we say, a lot of people want to go back and do the old
Yeah.
things that we're doing. We don't want this
Yeah,
modern
so-
technology, but it seems to be taking over.
I think people are finding a lot of comfort in it, and that's why it works, because people are remembering and craving that comfort of nostalgia,
Yeah.
of wanting to like sort of be back in 70s, 80s, 90s when
Yeah.
it was like, should we say a simpler time in terms of social media?
Yeah.
It is took over, the
Yeah.
trends, they're so quick, everything's so fast
I
paced.
think it's just
People are wanting
it's much
it to slow
warmer
down.
Yeah.
and kind
A
of
slower pace of life a little bit, I guess,
Absolutely.
rather than
Absolutely.
chasing trends.
I think the
and-
shift,
healthier.
the shift from that sort of like futuristic, like cyber,
Yeah.
which I guess you could kind of tap into like the Y2K aesthetic that is very,
Yeah. It's cool.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
futuristic.
Yeah. But going back to sort of that 70s, 80s
Yeah.
Comforts almost.
aesthetic,
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah.
warm and
Yeah.
colourful and,
Yeah.
just...
People are seeking it for a reason. It's like, with what's happening in general in the world. And it's like all of these sort of, it's like, for instance, Britpop, that's like coming back as a revival because,
Yeah.
like Oasis, for instance, they're touring this year. People are seeking these older comforts
Yeah.
and how that works. And that's transferring into campaigns
Yeah.
and, throughout marketing and how socials appear and what people are, finding comfort in and looking for.
I think especially with like music, Holly, you're definitely one to talk about this, but I think with campaigns and advertising especially, like people are, focusing on the classic stuff.
They are, yeah. And I think, controversially or not, I think people are wanting stories now with their ads. It's not necessarily short form as much anymore.
Yeah.
While that is still very there and very present, I think people are wanting a story and they're wanting to be told what's going to happen. And going back to music videos are coming back. And I love that. They're not just shots anymore. It's a story. It's a video.
Yeah.
It's sending you through the music or the ad.
Yeah,
And
I see that a lot of people. There's one example I've seen recently is like Tate McRae. She leaves little Easter eggs in every video.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, little Easter eggs in every video that passes on to the next one.
Exactly.
And these artists are spending like millions of pounds on videos they don't really get a lot of money back
it's
from.
like, it's like what they
setting
get
the
out of it.
status.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to that early noughties, music videos were a huge thing. You'd sit and you'd put on
Bring back
Kerrang!
Vivo.
Kerrang! MTV, whatever it was, you'd sit and you'd
best
watch
times.
videos.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really comforting knowing that that's coming back.
Yeah.
I saw an ad actually recently. It was at the cinema, and it was like a 4-minute long ad for Volvo. Very random, and I had no clue what it was for to start off with. And it was essentially a story of this couple who found out they were pregnant, and the dad was on the phone to his mum, and he was going through sort of his worries and his fears about his daughter growing up. And it goes on for a couple of minutes showing like her at school, really, really lovely video. And then it cuts to a woman driving a Volvo, and the pregnant woman's crossing the road. And like the climax is it looks like she's going to be hit by the car. And the car stops and it says a message, something about our safest car yet. And it's
my God.
really like gripping.
See, even that, when you was explaining
Yeah.
that, I was like, what?
Exactly.
Like, what's
Go
gonna
Go back and
happen?
look at it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's
what
worth a
works.
watch. But at the end, you sit there and it's almost like tear-jerking almost because you're brought through this story and you feel the emotions and you connect with these people.
Yeah, I think storytelling is one of the biggest things in marketing. If you know how to do that, it's like, for example, LinkedIn again. Like I'm doing it. I'm trying to learn storytelling. I was terrible at English, like absolutely terrible. But the more that I learn storytelling and repeating, that's where you see the growth, and it's worked in every aspect, like paid ads, and even organic socials.
And that as well is like a really classic like way of marketing
Exactly.
a product or
And because
a
it
service.
works, people connect with that. That is historically what's worked before. So people are starting to turn back to that now and think, okay, historically, that did really well.
Yeah.
Let's just redo it.
Let's try it again, and it's working because people love that feeling.
I think we are going back on what used to be. Like I always comment, well, the comments that I'm always saying is, people buy from people. People will always buy from people,
Always,
no matter what. Like you go into Asda and you use those stupid self-service machines. How angry do you get at them?
Yeah.
Whereas you wouldn't get that angry if a person was serving you and you was having a nice chat with them. And people always buy from people, and it will always be a thing.
It's bringing humility back into the world where we feel at the moment technology has developed so much and we feel so disconnected and people want to feel connected with people and whether that's storytelling through brands and campaigns and stuff like that. That approach is what as humans we need.
Crave
Like
it almost.
we need it. Like a lot of people, especially younger people, will feel so disconnected and probably think, what would it have been like before we had social media and stuff like that? And it's like we remember what it was like prior, and how much nicer pace and how everything was just so much
everything
easier
seems
and comfier and
brighter
and people
and more colourful, and
people
it was just
are wanting that. The modern way isn't as appealing anymore because we're living it and are people as happy as. Do you know what I mean?
It just feels almost like grey now, doesn't it? Like
it's so great.
The world
and
is
like,
so
this is why people are
and-
chasing that nostalgic
Exactly.
feel. Yeah.
And then as well, that's relevant to that, like the vintage aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like people love that, and there's so many brands that are doing campaigns.
Yeah.
That have that. You know, it's eclectic, it's colourful, it's interesting to look at, opposed to, you know, sort of modern minimalistic grey ways. We crave interest and detail, and that's
and I think as
what
well,
will be
just-
coming back.
We just crave that like realness in like
Yeah.
what we do. I think
Absolutely.
for example, like my favourite kind of trend, I hate to say that because it's not a trend, it's
Aesthetic.
yeah, I guess. It's people using digital cameras.
Yes. Love
and
that.
taking like flip phones on a night out. So they're not like glued to their phone, and disposable cameras as well.
Love.
So glad they're back because I just think that's so like
It allows you to capture the moment in a less like isolating
it's just
way.
real. It's a less staged. You know, you've got how many pictures do you get? Like 30.
Got to get them right.
Is it 28?
Got to get them
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're turning 28 and you're like,
I always have one
I love
because
that.
I just love I love having them like a physical copy as well of my photos. I think it just feels a lot more kind of
It's
special.
It's special. I think a lot of like the special elements of life, like capturing a moment on a camera, is taken away. And I think then, you know, brands are realising that and thinking, well, what can we hone in on that is this sort of old way, which people find comfort in.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I think
nostalgia.
Sorry, going back to it as well, there's certain brands, I think you mentioned it, I think either you or Rach mentioned it on LinkedIn, but Coca-Cola, you know, that vintage classic, and Doc
it
Martens,
works.
which I spoke about, you know, they are authentic and they are classic, and
they
people
don't
want
change too
that.
much.
Yeah,
they're still around for a reason because,
Exactly.
you know, it's like
They
that
stay true
saying,
to their roots, don't they? They don't.
if it's not broken, don't fix it
Yeah.
type thing.
I mean,
you
yeah,
know?
you've got to adapt to the world, and you've got to adapt
absolutely.
to the changing trends and whatever else is new.
You're right, just stay true to your
don't
roots.
change.
Yeah.
It's like Adidas
You can do it in a
Originals.
modern way.
You can.
So obviously they've just stayed, you know.
Yeah.
true-
Stayed very
true to
similar.
themselves
They've
and-
just adapted it.
yeah, they've adapted
And
it
made
to
it
keep
work.
up. And
Yeah.
Cass, just wrapping you up there.
Sorry, I'm getting carried
It's
away.
fine.
I was gonna finish my sentence.
I'm like, where can I get in? And I just thought, I'll just get in.
Just
So just to wrap it up for the last trend, obviously this is my trend, so you're all probably going to find it a bit boring.
No. Oh, God.
Yeah, here we go. It's not as creative. So social selling, live selling. We've seen it in 2024. People's businesses have grown on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, Made by Mitchell, TikTok lives.
Massive.
His business is now absolutely huge because of that. So I recently watched a Gary Vee, talk where he talks on stage and he says his predictions, and one that I really stuck with me was the social live selling. So obviously this works a lot for B2C, and he did talk about that, but he didn't talk much about B2B. And I think I've brought this up. Me and Rach are actually going into doing our own webinars.
Yeah, on
One
LinkedIn.
tomorrow.
Check it
Due
out.
tomorrow. So I basically flipped this on its head, and I'm like, right, well, B2C, is probably going to grow massively now in 2025 because it already was in 2024. So where can we see it working for B2B businesses? But also, where do we see it going in B2C? So, for example, in B2B, I flipped it on its head, went to B2B, and it's like, well, how can B2B businesses do that? And I think live selling is so good with webinars and stuff. How can we elevate that? So as a B2B business ourselves, we're going to start doing webinars and, just getting to know us as people a bit more, and also educating the way that, the knowledge that Rach has, the knowledge that I have, the knowledge that you have.
It's a different form of selling.
Yes.
It's like, sort of, it's developed to this potential because it's sort of like, okay, what else can we do?
Yeah.
And I think, after you saying about it, it feels like it's definitely going to pick up.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, like Holly was saying earlier about storytelling, the way to sell a business, storytelling. So if you was to go on
Absolutely.
live and, educate people, storytell how,
how you started.
Yeah, exactly.
People are interested in that as well, and they invest within a business because of the storytelling personal element of it. People love that. People buy into it, and for good reason.
Yeah.
You know, it works.
Yeah. I don't know what anyone else.
Hot take.
Yeah, you go.
That's your hot take.
Hot take, and it's, you know, I'm just not a fan of like the live selling on like TikTok, but that could just be.
Do you know what the B2C TikToks? They remind me
I think
of like
it's the B2C element,
the Sunday markets type like.
It's like teleshopping.
QVC.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
quick, come on, get it.
That's the online way to do it, though, isn't it? Really, because
and it must be working.
if you can sell like it's instead of selling to a room of people, you're selling to as many people around the world whoever
The
is
only thing
checking into it.
that I quite like is how they'll live pack your order, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm packing Rachel's order now. She's ordered this, this, and this."
Makes it more personalised.
And it's just like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
But personally, I don't know if it's because my TikTok's just full of it.
Yeah.
And it's annoying.
I wonder. It's like telesales.
Yeah.
It's like the modern version of telesales,
literally
where
is.
it's like
Cruise
instead of
shopping.
yeah, or them jewelry channels where there's
QVC.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like the modern equivalent of that for younger people.
I mean, clearly it works. Like Ellie was saying, it does.
Yeah.
I think
my hot take
B2C,
is
that is definitely more of a younger audience.
Absolutely.
Opposed to an older one.
Yeah.
But I do see it working for B2B.
Yeah.
And obviously
That's
we're going to
different.
trial it, see if it works. That was my hot take.
See,
on
I've
it.
not seen any B2B,
Interesting to
so
see.
I don't have anything to.
Yeah, which is what we're not seeing it in B2B. So why not try it?
Yeah.
Like it's not a thing in B2B. So we're doing podcasts, we're doing things like that. And people are doing webinars, but are they necessarily doing it in order to sell the services? You don't know. But I think, consistency within that and see what comes from it.
Try it out.
We've seen a lot of it from just posting on socials. So
Yeah, exactly.
why not try something
It
new?
works.
Yeah.
The personal element works.
Yeah.
For sure.
Every time this question's even asked, I always think of Sisters and Seekers. They are smashing it on socials. They have their own in-house marketing team, but they're honestly at hiring those people. I don't know where they get them from. They are just absolutely amazing. I know one of them, Anna, she's like, I don't know, in charge of it, or maybe I'm not too sure. I might be getting that wrong. But they come up with their own, what they called. I don't want to say it wrong because I nearly said the wrong word then. Sketches.
Yeah.
Skits.
And
Skits. They get the whole team involved. They're all like under, I don't know, 25 or something. So all Gen Zs. The business is just thriving off of their marketing.
They're just very involved with each other, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think that's the personal,
Yeah.
bringing the
love
people of
that.
the business on board.
Faces.
I just love it.
Can I go next while I remember?
Yeah.
You're going to say mine, aren't you?
I don't think
Oh
I am.
no.
I don't think I will.
We're going to have a fight.
So my favourite at the moment is Vive Muse, Jamie Genevieve's makeup beauty brand.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her full brand and what she's created. I think as an influencer herself, she's obviously been around for quite a long time, like starting up on YouTube and everything. But I just think her then creating a beauty brand, utilising the fact that her personal brand is so authentic and you trust everything that she's saying.
Yeah.
She's so down to earth. She's such a real person. You feel like you sort of know her on that level. For her to then create this beauty brand, I think a few years ago she started it up. It's just thriving in my opinion. I think her like core values and her, personable approach, her authenticity sells it, and that business just seems to keep thriving. Her campaigns are so aesthetic and beautiful and brilliant.
It's just built off trust.
It's completely built off trust, and I think she sort of endorses influencers, really popular influencers, but those who are also quite authentic in themselves. And she sort of created this really powerful community where I trust that and I want to buy that product because of her personality and what her values are within herself and her brand. I think it really transfers onto, her socials, and I love her. I love seeing their content. So
Yeah.
Great.
I'll take.
Go on, Liz.
Go on, you go.
I feel like I'm riding off the back of yours, but
No, go for it.
going back to the nostalgia, comfort sort of thing, is Zoella. I think she is.
I was talking
We were
about
talking about that yesterday.
Zoe
yeah.
Sugg. It's
Zoe
just,
Sugg.
yeah.
She has cracked it from day one. I think it's. I mean, how old is she? 30, early
so,
30s,
yeah.
I think.
33?
Yeah. So I think from anybody who watched her on YouTube, you've grown up with her.
As a teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She
Vlogmas.
really homes into the comfort and the warmth and the family life and all the things that I think people are craving now. And she set off a trend in her Vlogmas where she bought these old school lights for a Christmas tree, and it was the pinks and the oranges and the blues.
Yeah.
She had it in one video, and then my TikTok was full of everybody having them.
Yeah.
And I just think somebody like her has got such an influential impact on people.
Very powerful.
She's very
impact.
powerful,
Yeah.
but she's also very clever with her power, and she
Yeah.
promotes the right things. So she'll promote charities and Mind and all these mental health things that people are needing.
Yeah.
And she's a bit of a safe space, I think.
Yeah.
And
Massively.
she's somebody to watch, I think, and somebody to keep close for that comfort and that nostalgia and that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I get like she doesn't like change who she is.
She's
Yeah.
so
No,
true
she's
to
never-
herself.
She's always
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
her, hasn't she? So.
And I think that's
I
what
agree.
people love about her. They resonate with her, and she's never changed,
Yeah.
but she flourishes, which is
Yeah.
nice.
I
So
love that.
Lovely.
I think as well, just off the back of that, she always has like sort of committed to the products and the brands that she loves, and she's
Yeah.
endorsed them for like 10 years plus type thing.
and she won't do one that she doesn't like as well. She's very open
committed,
about
Yeah.
that.
very genuine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So mine's just completely different.
That's fine.
But going back to the kind of sustainability, I'd hate saying trend because it's not a trend. It's something that everyone should be.
Movement.
Yeah, movement. Is Tilt Vintage. So they're essentially just a vintage retailer. But it's so much more than that. There's such a like community. They do a lot of like the street interview stuff that we all know and love.
Yeah.
And it's all about kind of, what's going on in fashion this year and what's going to be on the rise. But obviously because it's vintage, it doesn't really necessarily hone in on all the micro trends. And it's just quite refreshing, I think.
Yeah.
To kind of, look at a brand that's keeping those kind of timeless classic aspects of vintage and not, worrying too much about.
Yeah.
They don't want to be trendy.
No,
No,
they
they're
don't.
just them.
They want to show
It's
beautiful
Setting their own
product.
standards.
They're
yeah.
very like streetwear focused, but I just love them, and their Instagram's gorge, and I'm pretty sure it's just like a one-man show.
I love
But,
that.
Nice. Okay, love that, guys. Right, I've got one more topic.
question else.
We're going to just get your thoughts on this.
Uh-oh.
Okay. AI influencers. I saw a video recently, Jamie Lang. He did a video basically talking about how he thinks in 2025 people are going to start coming off of socials, which leads on to like the nostalgia and things like that.
Yes.
People are going to go back to their ways, come off of socials or be very private. For example, just having like private Instagram accounts, private Facebooks.
Yep.
But then does that then give the chance, the wave, of AI influencers to come in? Are we going to start wearing glasses and just looking at AI bots and what AI people have to say and not
Absolutely
actual
not.
people? What are your opinions
Absolutely
on
not.
AI influencers?
I don't see that going anywhere. I don't see that working because I think that completely contradicts the whole vintage retro nostalgia kind of movement
It does.
I was
that we've
about
got
to say
that we've got going on at the minute. And
yeah.
I don't think people are wanting to hold on to the past. I don't think people want this whole AI generation, whatever the hell's
I'm
next.
not-
So you
I'm
think
not
it's just a
gonna-
trial?
I'm not going to sit there and trust an AI influencer
Yeah.
to like
It's so
give me
um,
information and
It's
that's
so
too.
product.
It just
It's
seems
so
too far.
dystopian. Like it's just it feels just wrong.
And I
don't feel
think as
real
well,
life.
if people are going to take that more private route and come off socials or whatever, yes, these AIs might come in, but who's going to be watching them?
Yeah.
If people aren't there, they're going to flop, aren't they?
And
really?
then surely
So
the
it's-
people like sort of left on there will then be like, well, this
Don't
is
like
weird.
this.
What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
if you're following an AI influencer and you don't know that they're AI?
See, I was just
Because
gonna
they're
say
that
that.
good now that their face, it looks like a human.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't even, to be honest, know this was a thing.
Did you not?
Oh, no.
There's,
What about if I follow someone? I have
exactly?
no idea. I think
yeah,
the-
you think they're real?
You're going to go through all your follow list now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I've
Like a
noticed
kind
that
of-
like there's ads on TikTok and stuff now where it's them saying, "Did you know that I'm generated by AI this entire video?"
There was that podcast,
does
wasn't
look,
there?
Yeah, that does look a little bit like AI.
Yeah.
But there is big brands out there that are using AI influencers that have lots of followers that you don't necessarily know.
I
That
actually
is
saw
wild.
a
Is
video
there?
yesterday. It was AI, and for a good maybe 2 watches, it was just on a loop. I didn't know it was AI, and I thought, oh no,
Yeah.
turning into my grandma, sending me a video of a dog doing like hula hooping or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It's not real, grandma. It's AI.
That is so
But I
scary,
fully
though.
thought it was real. I'll try and find it. It was terrifying, and it also had sound
Yeah.
that was also AI generated, which is like freaky because
I think it's
Yeah.
it can go deeper than this. Like there's such scary things that can come
Yeah.
from it. But
it can. But I just think
But
if we're
AI
all just really
influences.
sensible and
yeah.
but
No, but even if you want to be sensible, then how are we going
Doesn't
to
matter, yeah.
identify it regardless? You know, if it's
no, this
if
is
it's
what
so
I mean.
clear.
Like corporations using it, just
Yeah.
having to. I think it should be now like a legal
You have to announce
requirement.
Yeah, well, they have
think
AI
it is on a
labels,
lot of
don't
those.
they?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
maybe like the ad movement where influencers had to put paid ads
Yeah.
onto their content to say,
I think there
I'm
needs
being
to
paid
be
for
some
this.
sort of monitoring of it,
Sign
and
or-
Yeah.
because it could just
Absolutely
get out of
needs to.
control. Because at the end of the day, it's teaching itself,
Yeah.
and it can only get more powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like-
you'll have them having not only Instagram accounts, but they'll have a YouTube account. They'll have a LinkedIn, and it's like, well, how can you have a LinkedIn? Like,
Yeah. You don't work.
You've literally just been made. Like, what
You
are
don't
you
have a
going to
job.
talk? Yeah,
That's so
But if you
scary.
think
Yeah.
about it, AI's been around for like years. You know, it's not a new thing.
yeah.
It's just
Um,
developed
It's
quite
just developed
quickly,
yeah,
hasn't it?
really
alarmingly
quickly.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main reason these businesses are using them basically is because they're paying thousands upon thousands of pounds to pay humans to make videos for them, and it will be like a 3-second clip. And is it worth it when they
Yeah.
can just build their own?
You
people?
see the thought process because of how expensive influencers now
Yeah.
are to pay for content, but at the same time, like
Again, you
It's
can't
just-
beat people.
But it's like you
it
were
just
saying
feels
earlier,
so
yeah.
extreme
Yeah.
and so inauthentic because you're essentially manipulating an AI generated person
Yeah.
to say exactly what they want you to say. It's just
Yeah.
there's no what is authentic about that.
Yeah,
There's no like
nothing.
true opinion or
Yeah.
whatever in
Yeah.
an AI person.
And like your
telling you
influencers
about
earlier,
products.
your influencers earlier, if they've spent years building trust,
Exactly.
and there's
Exactly.
so much trust there, are you going to build trust in something that's not real? I don't know.
Scary.
It's interesting to see
Yeah.
what happens.
See how it unfolds.
Yeah.
I will definitely be coming off.
Yeah.
See, you're coming off socials.
Yeah.
It's working.
I think that
isn't
is a
it?
good topic though, because I think in terms of socials, it is so much, and the impact of people's mental health. I feel like that I'm seeing so much more. I'm just seeing so much more conversations and stuff around
Yeah.
how impactful, detrimental, should I say, that social media is on your mental health. It's you're constantly consuming, and it's just overloading your brain. I have it myself. If I'm scrolling for too long, it makes me feel anxious, and I'm like,
Bit of a pit in your
why am
stomach.
I feeling
Yeah.
anxious? Nothing's happened today. Yeah, because nothing's happened in real life. It's
Yeah.
all of this stuff that you're scrolling through, consuming, reading, taking in, trying to remember all this
And it's like staying
information.
on top of things. It's like all the
It's too
trends. You
much.
just constantly feel like you need to have something.
Yeah, and now these big
Separation.
companies are making influencers, and I guarantee they're typing in like beautiful, perfect woman with like
Yeah.
these running shoes on, blah blah blah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's getting worse.
I
But
think as well, like when normal people are seeing these influencers, there is a manipulation of how I feel like everyone seems to feel like that pressure of, oh well, maybe, do you know, like making something out of normal people trying to be influencers,
Yeah.
or because it's like being an influencer is like the most sought after career that
yeah,
people are
everybody
wanting.
wants.
Yeah.
You know, we can't sit here and say that we haven't thought about it. Like, if I push my Instagram more, if I do more of this stuff, and it's like, manipulating people into content creators or thinking that they
Yeah.
are, and then that in itself is just, it's a
Crazy.
bizarre concept because I'm not dismissing that like you couldn't go and be an influencer, but that weird pressure of constantly seeing people, constantly promoting things and following trends and buying new things. It's so much.
That
Well,
buying
your brain-
culture.
It's like the
Your brain's like, right, well, I
strange
must do
pressure.
this because this
Yeah.
person's doing it loads.
Exactly.
So then I need to do it
These
loads.
people look like they're living
Yeah.
this great life. And these people look like they're making great money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's not real.
It's
Yeah.
so
It's not real,
consuming
and
as
it's-
well.
yeah.
Yeah. It just happens overnight. Like you said, it's doom scrolling. You know,
It's an addiction.
It's exactly what
It's
it is.
such
Yeah.
a bad addiction. And there'll probably be groups of social media
Yeah.
addiction groups like Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. There will probably develop into this need of help that
Yeah.
people will need, because I'm addicted. I'll sit here and admit it. Like,
I mean, it's our job. And then we go home and we
It's our job, but we're the people at the end of the day, like, we need to get off this.
It is, but at the same time, it's like when I'm working, it's that
It's a
feels
real
separate.
separation,
Yeah.
100%.
Whereas when I'm
yeah.
at home seeing all this stuff, that's where wow, I've blinked and 2 hours have passed and now it's bedtime and my brain's so active that I can't sleep. It's so detrimental.
Yeah.
So I feel like the movement of people coming off it
Yeah.
and being like, no, this is bad for my health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to stop it, you know, put the phone away, delete the apps off your phone, put it on your laptop instead. You're definitely not on your laptop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so
Yeah,
passionate
so
about
Rachel
it.
Smith is now available for therapy sessions for people with addictions.
It's just bad for you. It's just bad for you. You know,
Yeah.
it's taking you away from reality. And
However, if you listen to this podcast on a social media platform, please don't unfollow.
Yeah. We are not AI influencers.
no, we're not. But yeah.
But yeah, we do love social. Great.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you, Ellie, for
Thanks,
the questions.
guys.
They were great.
Very exciting.
Great chat.
Great chat. See you next
Later.
time.